Good morning. Welcome back to One Sober to Another. I'm Wayne, and in this video, we're talking about amends. Have you ever told somebody you're sorry, and they looked at you like you were full of shit? That's what today's video is all about. First, before we begin, if you haven't subscribed yet and you want to be part of the know, and you want to be part of the One Sober to Another squad, and you don't want to miss out on anything I'm putting out, hit that subscribe button, that notification bell, so you don't miss a thing. Good morning. Look at this. This is a happy, sober day. And if you're not sober and you can't see this because you're passed out on your sofa and you're seeing this video, pay attention because this might help you. Making amends. A lot of people are not wanting to be a part of Alcoholics Anonymous. Making amends you can apply to any portion of recovery or just simply admitting your faults. Steps 8 and 9 in the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous is where you start. Well, you start in the beginning, but for the amends portion, step 8 says, I made a list of all people I've harmed and became willing to make amends to them all. What does that mean exactly? Well, let me tell you. I told a lot of people I was sorry before I got sober about all the things that I did. I'm sorry for draining the bank account. I'm sorry for hitting you. I'm sorry for lying to you. I'm sorry about being out all night. I'm sorry I didn't go pick up our son. I'm sorry I didn't wash the laundry. I'm sorry I didn't do this. I'm sorry I didn't pay your rent. All of these things. I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. That gets old. Nobody wants to hear I'm sorry. Making amends is not simply saying you're sorry. What it is admitting your fault in something. In your drinking history, as you were in my drinking history, I hurt and harmed a lot of people. And I didn't realize exactly how many people until I started doing my step 8 by making my list of all the people I've harmed while I was drinking. That list expeditiously grew. It got larger and larger and larger, and I started to notice all the people affected by what I thought I was doing only to myself. You know, I thought the drinking was something that I was harboring, and in my isolation, I said, you know what? I'm only hurting myself. And then as I went through the list of all the people I had harmed, I'd actually become quite grossed out about it because it was so long and it had so many things that were, just twisted. I really became disgusted, but I didn't become discouraged. I knew I had a lot of work to do, and so I started reaching out. You are not going to get a bunch of happy people who receive you with open arms and a hug and a kiss and say everything's gravy when you try to make your amends. Making amends is a brave move, and it is, courageous in order to reach out to somebody and admit your fault in something. One of the amends that I made that is most strong, I'll tell you about first, is my son. I did a lot of I wouldn't say true damage, but I emotionally damaged him by just not being there, being absent. For the first 10 years of his life, I was a complete drunken mess. I couldn't simply say I'm sorry about that. Who the hell am I to come through and be like, oh, my bad. I didn't mean to jack up your life, man. And that's the same thing that my father did to me. And I'll come back to that too. But for my son, I had to start living it, and I had to start living it through action. A living amends is for this case, for me and him, is the best apology that I could ever have made to him. Instead of just simply saying, I'm sorry for fucking up your life, I started just being there. Being an active part of his life. And when I retired, it actually got that much better. So I started being an active part of his life. I started taking active interest in the things he was doing, and him and I built a bond that I don't think that can truly be broken, which is absolutely amazing to me. Um, to be here in Europe and to be available for him all the time. You know, I like talking to him about small stuff, and that wouldn't have happened if I just simply said I'm sorry and moved on with things, because he would have always harbored certain resentments towards me, which is perfectly understandable. I would deserve them. But through amends, I was able to, you know, take care of that. And that's also into step 9, you know, made direct amends to the people I've harmed, except in cases that would injure them or hurt them, you know. And yeah, there was this one person who, now, not every amends you make is going to be received very well. As I said, I called I called this one person up, and I'm not giggling because it's funny, but I did not expect this to go the way that it did. I did some pretty some pretty shady things to this individual when I was drinking, and I really wanted to make up for what I did, and I really wanted to say I'm sorry to this person, and I really wanted to prove that I was trying to admit my fault in this. So I called the person up. I I waited for the phone to answer. I said, "Hey, is this blah 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 blah?" They were like, "Yeah, man. What can I do for you?" I said, "Well, this is Wayne, and that's as far as I got, man." And then this person was like, "Fuck you! Don't call this house again. Blah blah blah. You did this, you did that," and they hung up. My mind was absolutely blown. Um, I had no idea what to think at that time, and I was fairly new in recovery, and I was going at it with, you know, in my mind, I was like, I'll just say I'm sorry, and everything will be great. Well, that wasn't the case. So all I can do now is just ask my higher power for, you know, a way to make that amends, and perhaps I'll get the guidance here and there, and maybe that person will come around and I'm able to make that amends. We'll see. I don't know. To my financiers, shit. When I made that list, my debt was through the roof already. I had stacked up so much credit, bad credit, and so much borrowed money and everything else that I started chopping through it, and the best way to make that amends, you know, I started giving them, you know, as much money as I could until those debts were paid out. I did pretty daggone good, because I mean, I have a couple cars. One's on the fritz right now, but I have a couple cars, and I have a stable life. I have money in the bank, which I never had when I was drinking, and you can see that in a video before. But my next one, and I say these things to tell you this. When you make your list of amends, or rather of people you have harmed, you have to be willing to look at each one of those, and you have to examine it. And for me, I had to say, what is my fault in each one of these things? Once I was able to identify it, now it's not easy to evaluate it, you know, evaluate something you did to somebody that way and say that you were wrong, because more times than not, me as an alcoholic, I felt like I was validated in anything I did. So I had to look at it and say, what's wrong with this picture? How can I fix this? If I can't fix it, I ask my higher power for guidance. To make those amends directly, I had to evaluate, is this going to hurt this person more, or is this going to fix the situation? If it was going to hurt the person more, I simply asked my higher power for guidance on how to fix it. Still waiting for some of those answers, but they'll come eventually. In sobriety, I've learned to be somewhat patient, And yeah, my father, he is the exact same kind of alcoholic that I was. Coffee break. I always felt that he owed me because of the things that he did when he was drinking when I was young that destroyed my childhood. Well, ironically, I did the same thing to my son. So who am I to harbor resentments and harbor ill feelings towards my father who did the same thing that I did to my son? Well, absolutely nobody. I still couldn't come to grips with it though. And because a lot of it was so bad. Since I couldn't come to grips with it, I asked my higher power what to do. My higher power said, you know what? Write a letter. So I wrote a letter to my father explaining exactly what he did to me, exactly how I felt he was wrong, and I admitted how I failed in my adult life. That is a direct reflection of how he was when I was growing up. Now, what is my fault in all this? Honestly, in my childhood, there was no fault. I was a child. His job was to protect me. That's how I see that. Where I faulted was picking up the same habitual patterns. Now, I believe we are predisposed to an alcoholic condition or addicted personality. I firmly believe that. Now, I hope I don't pass that on to my son, but that's later issues, and hopefully through these videos and through proper guidance, he might not go down that path, but he might. You know, alcohol is cunning, baffling, and powerful. You never know who it's going to strike next. It's definitely indiscriminatory. So I wrote the letter, and I read it. I just read it out loud. That's all I did. And then I got rid of it. And then I checked that off my list, because if I stay stuck in those resentments and I harbor those ill feelings, I am going to stay stuck in the past. And as an alcoholic in recovery, and a grateful recovering alcoholic at that, I don't want to be dragged down anymore. I was already down enough. So I got to let go and let God, right? For those who don't like God, just take that word out and replace it with what you think is best. So I did that. I did all that. I went through my step 8 and 9. Making amends is not an apology, people. You can say you're sorry all day long. And if you're an alcoholic like me, you said sorry about, I don't know, 1,000,000 times. It doesn't do any good. You need to prove, as you were, I need to prove my sorry through action. And that's what 9 and 8 are, or 8 and 9 rather. It's all action. You know, things that I have to do in order to maintain my recovery. If you've gotten anything from this video so far, hit that smash that smash that like button, because it's a beautiful German morning. Things are hard for everybody all around globally with COVID-19 and racism, politics, tariffs, flybys, you name it. Our global climate is in such a wreck right now that an alcoholic like me would find an excuse to drink. I would find an excuse that the world's not doing too great anyway, so why should I? And if you're in that boat, don't drink. Don't drink for today, just for today. And if you can get through today, get through tomorrow. If you need medical attention, or you might be going through withdrawals, or you're just having problems stopping drinking or drugging on your own, I got some numbers below in the description. You can reach out to those. Suicide Awareness Hotline. I don't want to see anyone take their lives over this bullshit. Suicide Awareness Hotlines, recovery hotlines, the AA Global Organization. You can reach out to that. As well as, if you don't want to reach out, just click on the link anyway, and it will take you to a couple of resources that you can utilize, such as some literature and where to find meetings and things like that. Also, some financial resources are available on there for people in turmoil during this period of time. You can just click on the links. I have it for Europe and I have it for the States if you need financial assistance. I'm not saying get financial assistance to drink more. Definitely don't do that. Start with what I said before. Get through today and then get through tomorrow. You guys are totally worth it, one sober to another. If you want an awesome mug like this, click the link below for Streamlabs. It goes directly to where this mug is located, one sober to another, as well as some t-shirts, so you can be part of the one sober to another squad. And we're going to keep this movement going. If you need help and I can do anything for you, hit me up on my Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter, all at one sober to another, and I'll definitely be back in touch with you. I look forward to seeing each and every one of you again soon, and I hope you have a great day. Check this out. One sober to another. I'm out.